Hello, and welcome to the Imperial British Podcast. For our first episode, I sat down with Omega Invictissimus and Assassin Invictus to discuss our presidential and Senate electoral maps. We go over some of the swing states for both races, and at the end clarify who we think is going to win Election Day overall. I want to apologize in advance for any audio issues. I'm still sorting everything out with how this works. Hopefully as time goes on, we'll improve any issues we had in that regard. There are several minutes at the beginning of this podcast where my voice wasn't recording, and so I ended up cutting that clip out, so really quickly I want to discuss what we covered in those 6 minutes. So, in that clip, we talked about Wisconsin. Assassin and I had it as a lean Republican state. He said that the Democrats wouldn't have the turnout that they wanted, and I generally agreed. It was also pointed out that Hillary Clinton led the state by 7 points in 2016, which is very similar to Biden's lead right now, and she ended up losing the state during the election. So, with that being the case, the polls aren't always a perfect indicator of the election overall. It was also pointed out that riots have gone on recently in Wisconsin. A lot of that has dropped support for Black Lives Matter movement overall, and also for Democratic candidates, so we both thought that that might affect it a little bit. On the other hand, Omega didn't think the rioting would affect the polls all that much, and that Democrats would still take the state, with the final being a lean Democrat as the polls are currently predicting. After that, we started talking about New Hampshire, and I did get that on the recording, so I really hope you guys enjoy it, and hopefully you will not disagree too much with our predictions. Yeah, so I say we go on. I would say New Hampshire. I have that as a pretty. It's a swing state. I have it as dim, so I don't know.
I have a solid blue because I didn't pay attention to it.
You didn't pay attention to it?
No.
Okay, so here's the thing. Trump only lost New Hampshire in 2016 by like a couple thousand votes.
Really?
Yes.
Huh. Let's look cool.
Well, the polling does not look good for Trump in New Hampshire.
No, it doesn't.
I find that New Hampshireites, I don't know what they're called, don't seem to like Trump. And the average in New Hampshire is Biden.
The thing about New Hampshire, when I was looking, there is a ton of polls, like more than I've seen in a lot of other states, that had Trump coming out on top over a pretty big period of time. But overall, what they're polling is that Biden will come out with like a 48-42 is what I'm looking at now as well. So
that's what the average is right now.
So I'm just, even if there are a lot of polls that had Trump on top, and if there's some enthusiasm for him there still, I still just think with the way it went last election, I don't think there's that many people that are going towards Trump compared to what are leaving. So I think that it's going to go.
So how badly do you think he's going to lose?
Maybe 5 or 6%. 5.
That's a likely margin.
I thought it was. Oh, it's 5 to 10 is likely. I was thinking.
Oh, that was my scale is
okay.
5 to 10 is likely. We should have said that.
I was thinking up to 5. I think we did say that, but I was thinking like.
I have it on mine as likely. Although, oh no, I'm sorry. I have it as lean. I think. But honestly, yeah, it's lean. Yeah. I think it's going to be on the upper level.
Yeah.
Like I think it's going to be like 3.5 maybe for Biden in New Hampshire.
Yeah, I agree, and I think that'll be pretty. I think that was a pretty simple one to discuss. I know Assassin said he didn't have much on it as well. So, Michigan. I think we all had. Did we have similar for Michigan?
Yeah, I think we all had it light blue or somewhat
lean.
lean.
We all had it lean. Yeah, I think that one's pretty easy to agree upon as well. It's just by the way the polls are going, and the enthusiasm there for Trump does not seem very high. So
Trump, the aggregate has Trump down by, Biden up by 5.2. It swung in favor of the Democrats in 2018. You should see some of these polls from before. There was a poll from May that had Biden up by 16 in Michigan. And it's been getting closer. The only poll in Michigan I see that has it close is Trafalgar Group, which is a Republican pollster. And it has it as Trump plus 1. So everything else has Biden winning by a likely margin.
The only thing that makes me wonder how these will go is Assassin is right that Hillary was leading by similar margins, and there was a strong dislike for Hillary, just like there is a strong dislike for Biden, even in the Democrats' ranks. And I know that's different this year because there's so many factors. One of them is Trump already having been president, so that affects people. People see and either really dislike or don't care enough to vote for him now because they've seen and they don't favor how he did it. But I still think that what a 7-point lead would normally say to me, I think would be that it's kind of decided. But with the fact that there were 7-point leads that went Trump, I don't know how much I trust the normal aggregate polls.
Yeah, the thing is, I feel like as we get closer to the election and we have more debates and stuff like that, a lot of people, Biden had a huge, just enormous leads in pretty much every single swing state, like a few months ago. And I think that's mainly because nobody really looked at Joe Biden much. Everyone was focusing on Trump's performance over COVID. Mm-hmm. But I feel like the more we get into the debates, the more Trump starts attacking him, and we realize, who Joe Biden is, and he starts having all the gaps, like the "you ain't black" and all that other sort of stuff.
Didn't he call some people stupid bastards the other day?
What the hell?
I'm pretty sure he was talking to military people, wasn't he?
I think it was a joke.
He says it was a joke, but that's...
Well, I think it was a joke.
Yeah, it says video shows Joe Biden calling service members stupid bastards and a dull bunch. It says while cracking jokes in 2016 to troops in Abu Dhabi, but still, I just don't...
Yeah, it was just a joke, whatever.
It looks bad for him. But...
There's just so many quotes of him saying things that he should not have said that I just don't...
Mm-hmm.
Even if it is a joke, he just looks worse.
Yeah, poor kids are just as smart as white kids.
Genius, man. Okay. Pennsylvania, that one's fun. What do we have on Pennsylvania? Omega has lean blue. Assassin and I both have lean R.
Yeah.
I think it's in the same case as Wisconsin. The polls are showing towards the Democrats, but this is me expecting there to be a shift towards Republican come time of the election.
I did a good bit of looking into Pennsylvania because it was one of the ones that it was so close that I thought it was really interesting. First of all, Trump won in 2016, which means there is that support there, and that might have obviously, as I said, waned a little bit, depending on more people are leaving than coming towards him at the time, or at this time at least. But one of the things I saw is that the reason a lot of people on Democrats are worried about Pennsylvania is mainly because of blue-collar workers and Hispanics. One of the things that I read was blue-collar workers in Pennsylvania were essentially considered solid Democratic voters, even up to recently. But the amount of workers in unions has fallen from 46 or something. I don't remember what I had written, but I did write it fell to 12% in 2019 and is falling still. The amount of people in unions is getting lower and lower, and they really were the ones that organized a lot of those guys to vote for the Democratic candidates because they were the ones who enacted union-favorable policies. And they say that helped Trump a lot in 2016, and it's still getting less and less participation even now. So I think that blue-collar workers will probably vote for Trump. And there's also a thing that I read about Hispanics. They showed a map of how Pennsylvania votes, and it was the bottom right was left, and then everything else was Republican. And that's just, they said that's getting actually stronger as time goes on. So if more people actually come out to vote, blue-collar workers, Hispanics, and are voting for Trump, I think that it'll affect the way Pennsylvania goes as a whole.
In the rural areas?
Yeah. They say
so he needs to max out in the rural areas.
Yeah, and I think they're saying that that's a likelier thing because there's less support for unions and less support for Democrats even from the 2016 election. It's not a guarantee. It's still a very close swing state, but I'm banking on it going R for that reason.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I have it as a lean Democrat.
Mm-hmm.
The aggregate has Biden plus 4.3. In 2018, the Democrat won the Senate election in Pennsylvania by 17%. In 2018, the Democrat governor in Pennsylvania won by 13%. I don't think there's any metrics showing me that it's going for Trump. So if it goes for Trump, it's going to be a surprise. So, and since it would be a surprise, that means I cannot have it as lean Republican because, to me, nothing about Pennsylvania says it's leaning Republican. Everything says it's leaning Democrats. I think it's going to be a lean margin. I think it's going to be within 5. Maybe plus 2.5 for Biden, perhaps.
I don't know. I know that the way the 2018 election went is a good indicator, but then also, I mean, you're gonna see. I mean, that's how it goes. You see a change in party in the election.
Sure, but 17%.
Yeah, I mean that's true.
I think that just indicates an enthusiasm thing to me that the Democrats really want to defeat Trump, and they want to send messages. That's what it says to me. And because if it was closer, then I would agree. But 17%. Admittedly, I think he was in the incumbent. Yeah, it was the incumbent governor, but still, 17. That's a safe margin.
No, yeah,
in a swing state.
Mhm.
So I don't think. So while you're right, it was like a blue wave year. I don't think that that's enough to explain a 17% victory by the governor.
Here's another thing to consider. I think the Democrats' strategy after Obama's big wins in 2008, 2012, they try to build what they call like a diverse wave. They try to target, minority groups that typically vote for them but don't come out in big numbers for them.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was looking at the exit polls from 2016, and for Black Americans, for example, I think about 90% voted for Hillary.
Mm-hmm.
But even then, there's not that support for Biden. And the fact that
I disagree. Biden was Obama's vice president. I think he'll get close to 90% of the vote.
I don't know.
right now that's 78%.
Yeah, I read something a bit ago that Hillary had better support for minorities than in some cases. Not everything, but
I think the Black Lives Matter movement might do a lot to get them out, but right now, I also saw some interesting polls that say that a lot of Black Americans actually want more police and want more safety. So I think Trump being the law and order candidate might actually help that out.
yeah, there are several even like more famous black guys who were saying like even if they don't agree with the police overall, and they're saying like the police are killing black people, they're like there's going to be nothing to protect black people if that really is their argument that black people are dying. Even if it's from the police, if there's no police, then that just creates more problems for black guys because there's no one to call when things start going wrong in the cities. And I think a lot of them that live there realize that. So I don't know. I don't nationally. I don't know just off the top of my head what the percentage is, but I have read multiple times that Biden is not favored with, especially because he's a white man. I mean, as much as Hillary was also disliked because she was a very basic white politician, I think that when minorities see another quote minority, even though women really aren't one, that are in a position they might vote for them just because of the fact that they feel represented by a minority there, but they're still not having people of color. And now he's not a minority at all because he's an old white man. So I can see that support waning. Waning. Sorry. Thinking of The Rock.
I don't think that Biden's going to have a significantly lower share of the African American vote than Hillary did. It's not going to be 76%. It's going to be, if it's going to go down, it's going to be probably 85%. I don't even think it'll go down that much now. 87 maybe. I don't think it's going to be 76% at all. That would be massive. That would be a huge swing, and we don't see that in any polls for other states. I think that would be reflected.
So yeah, right now Trump won 6% of black votes in 2016, and right now he's at about 10%.
Yeah, that's exactly what I said. So if you said Hillary had 90, and I said if it goes down it'll be 85. Oh, what a good guess. Yeah, that's what I think it'll be. I don't think it's going to go down. It's not going to be the 70s. It may be the 80s, maybe, but I don't know, because Biden was Hillary's. I'm sorry, Obama's vice president, and there's a lot of nostalgia for Obama. The Democrats want to go back to that, and I think a lot of independents do as well.
There is a poll by YouGov and the Economist, which has Biden with 78% black support. So Assassin was right with the number he said. I don't know how much.
Yeah, but Trump
Do what?
Didn't he just say that Trump had 10 in that poll?
That was from a different poll from the Washington Post.
It's not going to be 70. Trust me. Unless something really bad happens at the debates or something. Right now.
You mean maybe Biden saying the N-word on stage? It's got to happen, bro.
I mean, yeah. That would be pretty bad for him.
That would be awful. Okay, so Pennsylvania. What about Ohio? What do we have? I think
definitely Republican.
I didn't put definitely. I put it lean, but I did put Republican.
Assassin has it as likely. Why do you have it as likely?
I think it's maybe it was more like me saying it's confirmed that it's going to go to Republican. I don't really know by how much.
Okay.
But I think at this point it's without a shred of doubt for me it's going to go Republican. I don't know by how much. Probably not like 10%, but
Mm-hmm. So Trump won Ohio by like 8 or 9%.
yeah, that's
And currently the aggregate has Biden up by 3.3 in Ohio, which ordinarily I would say that maybe would suggest Biden's going to win, but the Republicans did well in Ohio in 2018, and
exactly.
so I think Trump's going to win Ohio. Currently, I think Trump's going to win Ohio, but I think his margin is going to decrease to a lean margin.
Yeah.
I'm looking at the most recent polls. The two most recent ones are Biden +5, but then below that is Biden +1, Biden +1, but then Trump +3, Trump +5, Trump +5, Trump +4. So I think it looks like it's leaning more towards Trump.
Also, the actual predictions from a lot of the news places, there's not a single prediction that has it going. While the aggregates do say Biden right now, Cook Political says lean R, Inside Election says tilt R, Zapato's Crystal Ball, I've never heard of that, says lean, Politico says lean R, Economist says lean R, ABC says lean R. Like, most of these places are agreeing that it will probably go Republican. It will be closer than it was. I agree with Omega. It'll be closer than it was in 2016. But I'm fairly confident it will be a Republican state.
So Mike DeWine is our current governor. He won it by 4%-ish
Right.
in a blue wave.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I think it'll be probably, of the swing states, one of the larger Republican
Right.
Yeah.
margins.
Yeah, maybe close to likely, maybe +4.5.
Except like Iowa, if you count Iowa.
I do have Iowa down as a swing state, but I have it. We can talk about it in a minute, but I have it as a Republican. Okay, Arizona. I know we had some differences on that.
I had it as blue. Then I, last second, turned it to red. I don't know. I don't know. I want to say that the support's still there. The Democrat is definitely going to win the Senate, or at least it's leaning towards the Senate. So that doesn't really help. So I don't have a concrete answer. I'm going to flip-flop on it.
Negros.
Oh, okay. I didn't write specifically about Arizona. My general feeling is that it will be Republican. I don't really know much about it. I didn't look into it as much because I didn't consider it as much of a swing state as like Wisconsin, New Hampshire, like Pennsylvania, that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I could absolutely be wrong, of course. I don't know. The polling for the Senate does kind of worry me, like Assassin said, because I know Kelly has garnered a lot of support.
Mm-hmm.
And I know
That's
that doesn't
fine as well.
confirm anything for the presidential election, but I do think that it could just signal that they're going to swing. But
It doesn't help Trump. That
Yeah,
is an unpopular
exactly.
Senate incumbent.
I still
No.
have it as Republican. I think that if it does go R, it's going to be... If we were going... What's the one below tilt? If we were... What's that one called?
Below tilt would be toss-up.
Isn't there like on like the map you have where there's like a brownish red color? What is
There's
that?
say likely, lean, and tilt.
Oh, tilt. Okay, I would have said if it was going to go something. I'm sorry, I was thinking below.
So tilt is supposed to be between 0 and 1.
I would have it there if it goes R. I have it going R, but I don't think it'll be
So you think it's going to be under 1% for Trump?
if it goes Republican. Yeah.
Okay. So I have it as lean Democrat currently because there is so first of all, in 2018 the Democrats won the Senate election in Arizona. They picked up I think one House seat in Arizona. And this time they have an unpopular Senate incumbent because the governor, who's it, Doug Ducey, right? He appointed, I'm taking your word for it then. He appointed the loser of 2018 to the Senate, which is weird, right?
Mm.
But here's the thing. That seat will be up in 2022, and his term is expiring. So I think he sabotaged the seat so he could run for it next time. Kind of a shitty thing to do, huh? So currently the incumbent senator in Arizona is unpopular, Martha McSally. I think she's going to lose to Mark Kelly. So I don't think that because people want to vote her out. And if you want to come and vote for Democrat, you probably aren't inclined to vote for Trump as well.
Yeah.
So I think it's going to be really close. Maybe one of the closest. But currently, did I talk about the polling there? I didn't.
No.
Polling has it as plus 3.2 Biden as well. So I think for all of these reasons, I have it as going to Biden at the moment.
I agree. Yeah, with that. When I look at the polling, it's all over the place. There's polls that have Biden up by as much as 10. A lot of the recent, actually no, 11. A lot of the recent ones are like Biden 6, Biden 6.
Mm-hmm.
And there's like a random Trump +1, Trump +1.
Yeah.
So I mean, yeah.
That suggests to me that it's still close, and it's winnable by both candidates. Trump needs Arizona, I think, because if he loses Arizona, he needs to keep another state. That's 11, right? And it already seems unlikely to me. It doesn't seem likely that he's going to win Michigan, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, Minnesota. So if he loses Arizona, I mean, that just it moves him further away from 270, because then if he lost Arizona but then won Wisconsin, he would still lose. So he needs, I wouldn't say he needs it, but it would be very helpful to keep Arizona, because it's 11. That's more than Wisconsin. But I have it going for Biden right now.
All right.
Let me say one more thing. There's a general move towards the Democrats in the Sun Belt, like in the South, to Arizona, I find. So that's all.
Okay. Now let's do Florida. This one is,
Okay.
I think, pretty
It
important.
is very important. We all have it as a leaning Republican right now.
Yes.
You want to explain to me why?
Sure. Assassin, you want to go first again?
Sure. So in a blue wave, the Republicans, I think, wasn't like they did like won by a few points in the governor seat, but then like narrowly won the Senate. Or am I flip-flopping those?
I don't remember the margin, but they both won.
Yeah.
They won both those, and I think it was expected that the Democrats would have won those, but they did both of them. I don't remember the margin.
I think kind of like with what Nick Rose was talking about, I have a general feel that it's leaning towards Trump. Trump, I think, has a really good support from the Cuban base. I feel like he just does generally well in Florida, and also has a Republican governor to help him out. So I think for that reason, I'm going red.
Okay. Definitely Cubans are always a great help for Republicans in Florida. Even in general, the polls that I've seen, I know Omega says he doesn't agree that this is how it's going to turn out. I mean, for Black Americans, but I'm assuming for other non-whites. But from what I've seen, most polls are saying that Biden has less support with Latinos than Hillary does. That's just the way that they are polling when they're asking them, is that there are less Latinos supporting Biden. So I think that will... I'm not sure if those will specifically vote Trump. They may just not vote, but either way, that's going to help Trump overall. I've also seen, however, that a lot of older people are now supporting Trump less, especially in Florida. And I think I remember there was from 2016, the highest percentage of people that moved to Florida have been from like Illinois, like Michigan, like a bunch of... Michigan's obviously a little closer, but they've been from more Democratic states, so that will probably hurt Trump. But I think that overall, especially with the fact that Republicans have still, even if it's close, managed to keep, to win several times since the last election, the 2016 election, I think that, just like Assassin said, right now, I think it'll go Republican.
Okay. I have it as lean Republican because the aggregate is Biden plus 1.3, and I expect it'll narrow up as it gets closer. So it's going to be really close either way. The Republicans swept in 2018 in Florida. They kept the House delegation, I think. I'm not sure. I don't know off the top of my head, but I'm sure they did. They won the governor election and the Senate election, I think, in an upset. Maybe less so than governor, but the Senate election, I think, was an upset because it was against an incumbent, Bill Nelson. And all three of those are why I have it as lean Republican, just because it's so close. And also, oh, and last thing, I forgot to say this: Trump changed his home state to Florida, and for some reason, people care about that. I don't know why. Whatever. I guess Trump's a Southerner now.
I didn't know that. That's interesting.
He did because it was New York, right? He's not going to win New York. He changed it to Florida because he has like Mar-a-Lago, and it helps for some reason. It sometimes gives you. No, I don't. I think most people are not gonna. I think most people are gonna see through that as like the trick it essentially is, right?
Yeah.
But I think that'll help him maybe a little bit. But what you need is a little help, right? Because it's so close. So now, to go against that, I think you mentioned the Republican governor who might help him. I think his approval rating dropped significantly because of COVID. People really liked DeSantis before COVID, and then COVID happened, and now people don't really like it as much. So I don't know how much of a help that's going to be.
That's a good
Especially,
I know Florida has, I think it might have the worst death rate, or at least deaths count out of all the states, and people generally say that Biden would do better on COVID than Trump.
Yeah,
the only metric Trump wins is the economy.
You make a really good point there. I didn't even think about that. Just like today, or yesterday, DeSantis said they're dropping all restrictions on coronavirus, and that in order to not serve 100% capacity, restaurants have to provide an explanation. Like they're not, like they're
Seriously?
yeah, they have.
Wow.
That's ridiculous.
So I didn't even think about that, but for people that are iffy on that and have not like Trump's response to the virus, him not probably being in support of that, honestly, is going to hurt. I didn't think about that.
Those are reasons why I would have it less for Trump. Because without COVID, I could see Florida being like +3 Republican.
Yeah, it would. It's still going to be a lean, essentially, but it could have.
Well, I mean, right now the poll's +1.3 Biden. So if Trump wins, it's probably going to be +1, maybe. So, and like I'm saying, without COVID, it would just be the economy, right? Probably wouldn't have crashed, I think, without COVID.
No.
So I think he could have rode that to maybe +3.3 in Florida, but obviously that didn't happen.
I think. Okay.
You can go ahead.
So I guess more on like the general basis, I think the economy still helps Trump greatly, because going into the election, what's going to be on people's mind, I think that far away, we already have vaccines coming out. I think things are generally getting better and people are worrying about COVID a lot less.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think with the massive unemployment, massive businesses going under, people are going to be looking to the economy. And I have a few things. Nationally, Trump enjoys an approval rating of 3.5 on the economy. And in states like Wisconsin, he enjoys a net approval of 8, 13 over Biden in Florida, and 10 in Pennsylvania. So I think as we start to focus more on the economy in these states that really care about jobs, like, the blue-collar states, I think that's definitely going to help them in, like, Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, and Florida.
That's a good point.
I think if COVID drops, if it's not as important or as big of a deal then as it is now, then I agree that it will help his chances. And if there's a vaccine out by then that's going to be like an October surprise kind of thing.
Yeah.
And that would really help Trump. I am certain he is really trying to do that, because that would really help him, I think, in my opinion.
Absolutely, if he was able to get that out before. I don't know. I'm almost worried about it because I worry that they're going to rush it, but I also understand why he would want to get it out, because it would absolutely help him.
So for the 2018, because of the closeness and the fact that the Republicans held on in 2018, I have it as lean Republican, but I think it could just as easily go Democrat. So it's a very close toss-up.
This is unrelated, but I looked up the vaccine to see what the process is, and I saw a headline that says, "Black doctors want to vet vaccine processes, worrying about mistrust from years of medical racism." What the fuck? What the fuck
Yeah,
is that?
the medical racism thing. They claim that like doctors don't train on how to treat black people because black people need different treatment than white people, and so they like give them less medication because white people need less medication, and they claim that it kills a bunch of black people every year because doctors don't train
Is
well
that
enough.
true that they need different treatment?
I've never heard that before, other than those claims. That might be true. I don't know.
And individual people might need more medicine, but like if you know that your patient needs more medicine, why would you not give it to them?
Yeah, to say that it's racism, systemic racism, is a little dumb. But anyway,
I think that's unwarranted.
so that's Florida. What about North Carolina? What do you guys have for North Carolina?
Assassin, I think, has it as likely Republican. Is that right?
I thought I had it as either lean or likely.
You
It's
have it as
likely,
likely.
but you could say that it's lean. Now, Megan has
I have it as lean.
lean, and I have it as a Republican as
Trump.
well.
I guess I'll put. This is another one. I didn't really look too much into the polls. I'll move that to lean, I guess. I think that makes more sense with where the polling is right now.
I have it as lean because Biden is up by 0.08, but it's traditionally a Republican state. I think the Democrats won the popular in North Carolina in 2018, but I don't think it was by much.
No, it wasn't.
Now, I think they won the governor's race there as well, actually. And they will probably win, in my opinion, the Senate race there as well.
I think I have.
2018.
I have that as well.
So currently, it's super, super close. So it's pretty much tied. And since it's historically a Republican state, it's also narrowing up right now. But because of those two things, I have it as lean Republican. But I think like Florida, it could go either way.
Definitely could go either way. The recent polling it was like Biden 2, Biden 1, Biden 2, Trump 1, Biden 2, and one was even, 47-47. So I mean it's very close, like you said. I don't remember. I didn't go there very often when I lived in South Carolina, but the people that I know from North Carolina are mostly Republican. And obviously I know that's how most states are anyway. The smaller places are going to be Republican, but like it seems like there's support for Trump there. I think it will be very close, but I also am just saying that it will probably go Republican based on previous elections and things like that. But it could be Democrat, and I would not be if it went Democrat. I would not be surprised as much as I would be bummed for like Ohio. I would probably be a little surprised, but I would not be for North Carolina.
It's funny because Ohio has Biden up more than North Carolina, but I agree. I would be more surprised if Biden won Ohio than North Carolina.
Okay. Iowa. We said we'd talk about it. They have it as a tie right now in a lot of the polls that I've seen. It'll trump up a little bit, or as a tie. I'm fairly confident it will go Republican.
You both have it as likely?
Yes, I do.
Over 5, is that what you think?
I do think it will be over 5 in the end. I don't really...
Trump won it by like 10 points, right?
Yeah.
2016.
But Obama won it by that much too. Iowa is the truest swing state because it swung to Obama and it swung to Trump. Could swing back to the Democrats, who knows? So, I think Trump will win. Yeah, you mentioned the polls. The RCP aggregate is a tie. If you look at the older polls, Trump was ahead in pretty much all of them, except for like March and January. I think that's a good sign for them. But in all of them except one, it's been a lean margin. So I think he wins Iowa by like 3 or 4.
So in 2018, the Iowa Republican governor, I believe she was the independent, won it by about 4 points. Or 3
That's
points.
also flipped 2 House seats out of 4
Ooh.
in Iowa. Swing state, man. Swing everywhere. So
I don't even,
it'd be close.
I don't even get that. Like, what even is in Iowa? There's like Cedar Rapids, and then everything else is just farm territory.
Honestly, I think Hillary saying, "I'm just chilling here in Cedar Rapids," is what cost her the election. That was the most trying to be.
What's
Obviously,
wrong?
I'm joking, but it
Because
was
you
very.
said bullying, or
She was. It was one of those trying to be hip with the kids, like the Pokemon Go thing. I was obviously joking when I said it lost her the election itself, but I think that her trying to be hip did hurt her.
Of course, she dabbed on Ellen.
I think that Biden trying to be hip will hurt him if he does it more. He's not been as bad as Hillary has, but I really
Despacito.
that was really bad. I mean, it was cringe, and I think that I know that it seems like a very trivial thing. Like they're like, oh, whatever, it's not that big of a deal. But like, it's just, if I were an iffy 18-year-old who was not sure of what they were voting, and I saw one guy who got up there, and even if you don't like Trump as a person, and then you see Biden get up there, and he just randomly turns on his phone music for like 15 seconds, and then just doesn't talk, and then just cuts it off before it even gets to the chorus, I'd be like, yeah, this dude he's trying way too hard. So
I don't think it's gonna affect anything. It's funny, but I don't think anyone's gonna care.
I think the general atmosphere of who he is and moments like that will, so yeah, it'll dismantle, or not only dismantle, but diminish his support slightly.
yeah.
Enthusiasm. It's really going to be.
They're
like
not voting for Biden; they're voting against Trump.
Exactly. It's going to be
They
the
don't-
vote blue no matter who.
They don't care because remember before during the primary they were like roasting on Biden. All the socialists and the left types were, and now that Bernie lost.
I mean, yeah, but still on Reddit, there's a ton of people in Bernie subreddits who still say they're not voting Biden. Like they won't vote, or they'll vote green. Like
I doubt it. Most of them are going to vote against Trump, and then the only way to vote against Trump is to vote for Biden. I think most people who are like, oh, Bernie or bust, I think if they vote, I think they would vote for Biden.
that's a lot of it. I think a lot of Bernie supporters couldn't even vote anyway. They're not old enough for half.
Oh, oof. There's a lot that can. He got like 30-something% in the primary.
No, he did well. I just mean a lot of the people that post about him on like Reddit or like TikTok politics are all like 12 or 15 or whatever. But they are pushing a bill to let 16-year-olds vote in multiple states. So
Oh
That'd
my
be-
gosh. It's going to be all the ones that are solid D anyway.
it's what is it called? It's called Vote 16. I know this is off topic as well, but it's they want to lower the voting age to 16 for local elections, and then as that goes on, to lower it to the national on the national level as well. So I just thought that was dumb. Apparently, there's several states that let you register by the time you're 17, or when you're 17, if you'll be 18 by the time of the general election. That's fine with me. I don't care about that. But
that
and they're
makes-
trying to use that as like an example. Like, we have this. Let's push.
Well, how does that have anything to do with it? You're going to be 18 by election day.
I don't really. I guess it's just saying that younger people who are 17 are still registering, so it means they want to vote. But I don't really. To me, it's just if you
don't
want to
see
vote at
what
all,
that
you need to
is.
do it anyway. So.
Because they want to vote too bad.
But anyway, I just thought that was dumb, so I wanted to point it out. But the last swing state I have is just Georgia. I think we all have lean
More
R.
states than that.
That's the ones that I have listed.
Texas, New Mexico, Colorado, Virginia, and Maine.
Georgia.
But we'll do Georgia. Georgia, I have as lean. What do you guys have?
Yeah,
I
I
don't
have
have
lean as
some,
well.
Sadly, my home state, I have it as lean. I was hoping it would be likely Trump, but
Yeah.
I see it as a lean right now. Let me check polling. Yeah, polling has Trump up by 1.
Wow.
Jeez.
I think Democrats were full steam ahead in 2018 with Stacey Abrams and still lost by like 0.5%.
Yeah,
And so I don't think they're going to be full steam ahead again.
2018 looks bad for the Democrats, as in they lost. I mean, it looks good that they're gaining, but it looks bad that they lost. So, I think they will gain, but I don't think they will win the state.
Yeah, I'm not completely confident on Georgia, but I don't think it will be.
I think it's Trump plus 3 or Trump plus 4. between that
Yeah,
is what I would have it at right now.
it's a fair range, I think. Okay, that was what I had written down, but we can go and like do Texas stuff like that as well. I'm not. I mean,
Oh, those are swing states, as in they're not safe.
yeah, I guess if it's just anything not safe, I think Texas and them are a little safer than.
Right. Okay, I find we'll do Texas. I have Texas as likely. We actually all three have different ratings for Texas. That's interesting.
Wait, whoa.
I have it as likely. Assassin has it as safe, and the Necros has it as lean. So I guess we'll go top to bottom. Assassin, why do you?
I guess it's one of those things where it's like, nah, it's not gonna change, man. So,
Mhm.
yeah. I could see him winning by like 5.
Okay, that's likely. Necros, why do you have it as lean?
I thought we were going top down. What?
Oh yeah, you're right. I have it. I'm sorry, I got mixed up. Okay, I have it as likely. Aggregate is Trump plus 3.6, which is a lean margin, but I think at the end of the day it'll probably be around 5-7. So that's why I have it as likely.
It's Texas, man.
Okay.
They're getting closer every time.
Yeah, that's kind of what my reasoning is. I kind of was going on the aggregate, especially just because as the cities get bigger and spread, their races get closer and closer for Republicans. I think
thought you
that
meant like races of people. I was like, what?
Yeah.
Damn,
as
that
the
was a
cities
hot
get bigger,
take.
the races become more homogenized. No.
Yeah.
No, I mean, as the cities get bigger and they spread out
Right.
further, the actual presidential races get closer each year. I
Mhm.
think that Trump will win. I don't think it's going to be like a tilt. I think it will be a strong lean. I can see it going.
So close to likely.
Yeah, I can see it being close to a 5. In my mind, I was like 3.5 to 4.5, but it could be a
Mhm.
5. That's definitely
Okay.
a possibility.
What about New Mexico?
New Mexico. What do we all have? I think we all had.
No, we don't. I have it as likely.
Oh.
You have it as likely. Assassin
Yeah.
has it as lean. Assassin, do you want to explain to us why you have New Mexico as lean?
I didn't pay attention to New Mexico. I don't care about New Mexico. Biden's leading by like 12, 14, 15. I don't think it really matters to me.
Necros.
Yeah, it's kind of the same. I mean, Biden is up so high. I know, as I said, I don't really trust the polls that much, but the margin is so high that I can't see it going Republican at all. I don't want to put it as safe, but I can't.
There's a large Hispanic population in New Mexico, and Trump did poorly with them last time. And now it looks like he's going to do worse. I have it as likely, which is 5 to 10, and I was thinking on the high end of that.
Yeah, for sure.
Polling aggregate has Biden of plus 14.5 right now, which would be safe under our margins. Although technically, some have it as safe as plus 15 or more, so technically that would be likely in others. So I think as it narrows up, it's going to be between like 9 and 13 for Biden. That's what I think. So that's why I have it as likely right now. It could drop to lean if Trump does well in the debates. It could increase to safe if Trump does poorly.
Yeah, that's definitely.
But I think it's pretty... I don't think that he should be focusing on it.
No, overall, I would say I'm pretty confident it'll go D.
Mhm.
Okay, what about Virginia? I think we all have it going blue. I don't know what.
Necros, you have it as lean.
Yes.
Assassin and I both have it as likely, so why don't you say why you think it's going to be...
I
within
said this
5?
earlier. I agree that it won't affect it that much, but I really do think the bill that they introduced in Virginia a while ago about gun control, the
Mhm.
protests going on, I think there have been a lot of things that Democrats have done that the general citizen in Virginia is not a fan of. I think overall it's still pretty safe to not safe. I think if it was just a normal election year without all the things that I've seen that people are strongly disliking happening there, I would probably put it as wow, I just forgot what
Lean likely safe.
likely. Thank you. I forgot the word likely. I would probably have it as likely if it were not for the stuff that they've done this year, but I think that everything that's gone on makes it a little bit closer for Trump. I still don't think it will go Republican.
Assassin, do you want to talk about it?
I guess I'll just do a brief little thing. I think it'll be like 5-7 for Biden. I think with everything that Necros mentioned, there's definitely been a steady decline of support for the Democrats in that state. Like, past polls have had Biden up by 14, 15, 17. But now it looks like it's slowly decreasing. One recent has it only up by 5. So I think it's still going to be a really likely blue state, but I think there's been a little bit of support draining, but it's also going to be pretty heavy for Biden.
I don't think the Democrats are losing support in Virginia. I think even if the Democrats do things that people in Virginia don't like, I think Trump is also doing things that people don't like. I think, like I said earlier, I think people in Virginia are going to be voting against Trump more than they're voting for Biden. But also, Virginia loves establishment Democrats. So if Bernie had won and there was no COVID, I would say maybe Trump could win. But it's Biden, who, by the way, is from a nearby state, if that means.
I can see it meaning something. I don't know about nearby states, but if there was a presidential candidate, I mean, I would not support a Democrat over a Republican if they were from Kentucky, but if there were 2 Republicans that I liked equally and one was from Kentucky, I would probably vote for the Kentucky one in the primary. So I can see it affecting it a little bit. I think picking your party over where they're from is a little dumb, but I can see what you're saying about them just in general. Virginia is pretty...
If Trump does particularly badly, I think it'll be a safe margin. But I think right now it'll probably be like anywhere between 8 to 15 for Biden, I think.
Okay. Is there anywhere that I'm forgetting? What have we not talked about?
Colorado,
Maine, Colorado.
Oh, we didn't talk about Maine. I didn't remember.
And Nebraska. Which one do you want to start with?
Okay, let's do Maine. I meant to talk about that. I forgot.
Okay.
Maine's interesting.
Yeah, Maine is interesting. Maine has been swinging rightward recently.
So we have different ratings, all 3 of us, for Maine.
You have it as Republican.
So Assassin has it. I'm sorry, you have it. You have all 3 as lean. Assassin has the 2nd congressional district as lean Trump, and then the others as safe Democrat. And then I have the at-large at likely, the District 1 at safe, and the 2nd district at lean Trump.
I'll not lie. I do not like I didn't look into the multiple different districts thing. I just picked the state as a whole.
There's a lot to digest with Maine, isn't there?
I don't really get how it all works, to be honest. I know there was like a weird break apart 2 districts.
Mm-hmm.
I had the same one as yours, as that one, like Republican looking one. Yeah, I had that one going for clean red, and I'm guessing just with the polls, in the 1 district, Biden's up by like 22, 18.
Yeah.
And at whole 11, 12, whatever.
Right.
So I put it as safe.
So, you have the at-large as safe?
I didn't really pay attention to it, but you know.
Okay, so Trump won District 2, I think by a likely margin last time. But in 2018, the Democrats won it back, and they took that as a House seat.
Oof.
Now, and Biden is ahead in the polling in D2 as well. So, it could go back to Biden. I think because Trump won it so convincingly last time, I'm not ready to declare that it's going to go for Biden. So that's why I have it as lean Trump. Now, I have the District 1 as safe because it is a Democrat district. And you said that the polling has them up by like 20. I will take your word for that and say that might be how it will be. I don't know if it's going to be 20, but it might be something like that. I don't have the at-large at safe because in 2016 it was only lean. And I think that Trump is going to lose support in District 2 and Biden's going to gain in District 1. So I think that at-large is going to increase from lean Biden to likely Biden in 2020 for those reasons.
Wow.
I posted a picture in the normal chat of it. Looks like the at-large is 12, the 1 is 22 for Biden, and the 2 is +1.
The 2nd district is the close one.
Yeah.
I just put what I would pick for the whole state overall. I didn't really want to do the different districts.
That's
really...
fine. So you think at large is lean, basically?
Yes, I think overall Maine will go lean. I think the 538 talked about their updates of swing states and has put that places like Iowa, Michigan, and Maine are swinging rightward overall. I just don't think it's enough right now to get.
They're all trending, right? Yeah.
Yeah, it's trending right. I still think overall will go. In the future, maybe if the trend continues, I mean it's possible they go.
With
or
the
maybe
right
even the next
candidate,
election.
Maine
But
will flip to the Republicans.
yes, but right now I'm gonna say Democrat.
That's fine.
It will be close though. I'm not. It will not be a higher end of lean. I don't think. I think maybe mid to low. Okay, Colorado.
We all have it as likely Biden.
Yes, that seems pretty standard. I think for what most people are saying as well. It seems.
I think he's going to win by like 9 or 10. I don't really think there's much to say on that.
Yeah, I'm not too. I also don't really think Trump should focus on it. I mean, he can, I guess, if he wants to, but
No, I
don't see much reason.
There is a Senate seat at risk from Colorado, but I don't
We all
think.
have it as likely right now.
Yeah, I just don't think. I still don't think that it's smart to invest money as much in Colorado as other places. Anyways, is that it for Colorado?
Yeah, I don't have much to say about it. To be
Okay, the
honest.
last thing is Nebraska CD2. I am the only one that filled it.
I didn't care enough about it.
So the Republican Trump won District 2 by a lead margin in 2016, and then in 2018, the Republicans barely held it by a lead margin. So I think Biden's up there and actually in the polls. Let me check. Oh, I guess there's no polls. I can't find any, but I'm not gonna go on Wikipedia to find him. I think he might be up in the polls there. I'm not certain, but if he's not, it's super close. So it could go Biden. It went Obama in 2008, for example. So it's possible. But right now, I think Trump will win it by like 1 to 3. The rest of the state I have is safe.
All right, that. I think we all generally have an agreement on that. Just you're the only one that did the district differences. Okay, so that should be good. I think we all have generally pretty similar findings on the rest of the
What's
state.
our final numbers?
Oh, yes.
I don't have. Oh, hang on.
I was going to say Omega is at 249 Trump, Biden 289, and I'll have the pictures accompanying this when I do the editing. Assassin, I don't see yours overall. It looks pretty similar to mine.
It was a big cropped. I think we have like almost the exact same states, except I have the main filled
I think
in.
you'll have it at like 285 for Trump. It's still going to be a Trump win for you, but I think the only thing we have different is Maine, it looks like. Other than some different colorations, but I think we have everything else the same general vote. So I think you have it at 285 for Trump. And then mine came out to be 289 Trump, 249 Biden. Which is, I will admit, a little idealist, but I think there's a chance it goes that way, of course. I think it's still close on the ones that I picked it on, but I think it's probably realistic to put it a little bit lower for Trump if he does win it all.
Yeah, I think I agree with that. I think mine was a bit idealistic too. But I mean, yeah. If there's like a nightmare scenario and Biden wins Texas, Georgia, Florida, I don't know if I want to live in this country, man.
Dude, people are saying, all the Democrats said last election that they're going to leave if Trump won, and they never did. We should didn't after the Civil War, didn't they have to then like go to Brazil and start some town called like Confederos in Brazil? Let's just do that. Let's just take over a part of Brazil. They're pretty much in disarray anyway. Their states are, the outer states of the country probably aren't that important. We'll just take one. Anyway, so that's the presidential one. Okay, so now we're going to cover the Senate, and we're going to explain why I am the only correct map that we have. I mean, we have time to discuss them all if we want, but I mean, places like... I mean, Assassin has... I mean, I don't know what order we want to go in. Assassin has Kentucky as a likely, but... So I guess we can talk about stuff like that if we want, but I generally have a lot of those states as safe. So.
We can skip the safes.
To be quite honest, with Kentucky, I kind of did the Senate one really quickly. I just got like the yes or no for Republicans, so I don't really think I can give a valid reason for like the shade. And the rest of them, I just did the automatic like 270 to win. So like that's why Kentucky is that close. Definitely added.
Okay, I will point on that really quick because as well touch on it, and Omega can if he wants. But I think from what I've seen, first of all in polling, but secondly just in the general atmosphere of most Kentuckians, people really don't. Omega says he doesn't get it, but people really don't like Mitch McConnell. They vote for him because he's a Republican, but most people here really do not like him, and I don't either. But people really don't like Amy McGrath, even more so than McConnell, a lot more than McConnell. So I think Democrats will vote her because vote blue no matter who. But overall, most people that I've talked to, and I know I live in rural Kentucky, but I know a lot of people from Louisville and Lexington, most of them are going to go McConnell from what I've seen. And so I think overall it's pretty safe, just to clarify, because I'm going to put these on the screen. And I know you clarified you didn't focus on the shading, but I just wanted to clarify why some things are shaded and some aren't.
I have Kentucky as likely Republican because I don't think it's 100% guaranteed that the Republicans will win. So that's pretty much it. Because it's like maybe 10% chance that McGrath wins. So I don't want to call it safe because then safe implies that you can just ignore it. To me, and like if Mitch McConnell just didn't campaign at all, I think he could lose. So that's why I have it as likely not safe.
I guess that's true. I'm confident it will be.
Well, so am I.
Kentucky, but I guess I can understand a likely if that's the reason. It makes sense. I think we all have. No, two Assassin and Omega. You both have Texas as likely. I have it as safe. That's probably wrong. I will not. I'm sort of in the same boat as Assassin, where I tried to. I didn't just randomly pick mine, but I was kind of going on my gut for a lot of these. I didn't do as much research as I did for the presidential one. I can see Texas going. I still think it's going to go Republican, but it might not be safe. I'm not really sure.
I think John Cornyn will overperform Trump by a couple percent. And during the prediction, what did I say? I had Texas at 5 to 7. What was that?
What did you say?
Was it 5 to 7?
I think so. I'm pretty sure.
I think I said something like 5 to 7 for Trump winning in Texas. Maybe 4 to 7, something like that. I think Cornyn will probably win by like 9, something like that. But also, he could significantly outperform Trump and win by state margin. So I don't know. Well, I do know. You know what I mean.
Echoes, I think you and I had virtually the same Senate and general election.
Yeah, we're very similar on the stuff that we picked. I think the Senate one, a lot of it is because a lot of mine came from predictions on the Senate, just like the aggregates and stuff. I was kind of going along with a lot of them.
Mm-hmm. Except like certain circumstances. Yeah.
Yeah, I think one that would be good to talk about is Georgia, just because there's two going on there. Omega, you're from there, so if you want to start.
Which one?
I mean, either one. I don't care. You can. I mean, we're gonna go through them both, so it doesn't matter.
We'll start with the standard one then. So I have Purdue winning at a lean margin over John Ossoff. You should see the ads they have here.
Is it
every single advertisement I get is either for John Ossoff or Raphael Warnock. Really flooding the market here. Crazy. So, I think he's gonna win, like, maybe by 4, 5, maybe 3, 3 to 5. I have Purdue winning. Yeah. So for the special election, it's really close. There's 4 candidates, right? There's there's Loeffler, Collins, Warnock, and Lieberman. Lieberman's in 4th. Warnock's in 3rd. Warnock and Lieberman are the Democrats, by the way.
Yeah.
Collins is in 2nd, and Loeffler's in 1st. Now, in order to not go to a runoff, you have to win over 50%, and nobody's going to win over 50% in a 4-person race, right? So that means whoever gets 1st and 2nd will go in a runoff in December. Now, right now, it could very well be that 2nd and 1st are both Republicans, which is why I have it as likely, and not Levine. But even if it ends up being a Democrat and a Republican, I still think it's likely because I think Republicans are just more likely to vote in runoffs.
Yeah.
So I have a Republican winning. I don't know who. It's really close. It could be Collins or Loeffler. Disclosure: I'm voting for Collins.
Okay, that is pretty similar to what I put. I have Purdue winning. As I said, kind of went off aggregates there. He's generally up 2 to 3 to 4 to 5. I guess it could be likely on that case, but I think generally it's probably lean. The special election, I was actually looking into that earlier today because I wanted to verify on it. And one of the things I saw is that just like yesterday, Obama induced Warnock. Or induced? I don't know what I was trying to say there. That's what I said. I don't know why I said that. Obama endorsed Warnock earlier, and a lot of people are calling for Lieberman to drop out. And so if that happens, I haven't seen anything saying that he will. I'm not from there, obviously, so I don't really know. But nothing that I've seen signifies that he's going to drop out. If he does, I think that gives the Democrat a lot better of a chance just to get into the runoff. I still don't think it'll be anyone over 50. Yeah. But
if he drops off, he'll definitely go to the runoff.
Yeah,
he'll probably get 1st, actually.
Yeah, with the way it looks right now, he would have like 30, I think, on.
The Democratic Party is coalescing around Warnock for some reason. I'm not sure why. I'm not really super familiar with why, but I know that they are. I've never seen a Lieberman ad. I've seen tons of Warnock ads though. So I think that indicates, if anything indicates that he's going to drop out, it's the fact that there's no ads, at least from what I've seen, no internet ads. I don't really watch cable. And and he's last place, pretty much, out of the major candidates.
Yeah, if he does drop out, I think it'll still probably be a Republican election, overall.
I would almost still keep it as likely, I think.
Yeah, I think that would be the same, because I think once it goes to runoff, the Republicans who are not splitting their vote anymore will end up winning it for Republican and Georgia overall. But if Lieberman drops out, definitely closer. If obviously he doesn't, I think you're probably right. Warnock and Collins, from what I've seen, are tied right now. So if that's
scary.
Yeah, it is kind of freaky. It's going to be an interesting race
for a lot of the summer. And he's dropped to almost 3rd now. It's looking bad for Collins right now, I think. Well, you know what? It's not looking as good as it was.
Yeah, especially if you're saying the Democrats are rallying around Warnock, that's going to give him a lot more support.
If Lieberman drops out, or if all the Lieberman supporters just defect to Warnock, I think that might end Collins. Because unless he gets 1st, right? Like if the Republicans switch from Loeffler to Collins, because that's what they were doing originally.
Something I looked up the campaign fundraising and their spending. Loeffler has raised more than all of them combined with $17 million. Wow. And I wanted to see if Lieberman just isn't spending his money, but he spent the highest percent of his money because he only raised about $1 million, but he spent $928,000.
Wow.
Whereas Warnock has $4.3 million raised, but has only spent $1.4 million.
I guess it still comes out to how much they're spending in the end, though. Even percentage is important because it shows he's trying, but even with a higher percentage and he's spent less, that does not look good. That does not fare well for him. I mean, I don't think there's a chance Lieberman gets the Senate. I mean, at all. I think that if anything, he's going to keep. If he was just trying to win the Senate, he would drop out for Democrats because that the only chance that they really have. I think. I guess Warnock could pass Collins and then it goes, but I don't know. It almost guarantees the runoff will be Republican and Democrat if he drops out.
It definitely would. It would guarantee it because then he would be the only Democrat, and then the other would get Republican. It would guarantee it.
Oh yeah. So yes, then I would say
one thing is sure. If the runoff is Loeffler versus Collins, it'll be Lieberman to blame.
Yes.
Solely. It'll be solely on his shoulders.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's from what I'm reading, it's people are saying a lot of the same, which is Lieberman dropping out will really change it. But
oh, would it change it? Really? It would change it, and in that it would guarantee a Democrat versus Republican runoff. But the way that it's been trending so far, it already looks like it might be that way anyways.
I guess if it does end up being that way anyway, but it would be a guarantee, which would be a lot better for them. I still have it going Republican either way. Even if they get there, I think it'll be Republican. But
it means Warnock might as well stop spending any money. If Lieberman dropped out, he might as well save all of it for the the runoff, because if he's the only Democrat, it's virtually guaranteed he will get first or second against two Republicans, right? Because then it would be 1-2. So if Lieberman drops out, that's another thing. I think that would benefit Democrats in that he would be able to save his money for the runoff.
True. That's a good point. Okay, what else do we want to touch on? I don't know what really is the big. I'm not sure what the big toss-ups are for the Senate. Omega, if you want to call them out, I will speak on them when you say them.
Colorado could be interesting.
All right, we'll do Colorado first. What do we have it as?
I think we all
have it
it
as
for Democrat.
Democrat.
Yes.
Who wants to start?
I guess I'll start. Hickenlooper ran in 2020, right?
Yeah, he was in the presidential primaries.
Yeah. I have no idea why is he like just not popular? Like, how come he's like not leading as much as he should be?
How much do you think he should be leading against an incumbent Republican senator?
Oh, that's why. Never mind. Okay, I didn't realize it was the incumbent.
Cory Gardner.
I was just curious.
In 2018, in the red tsunami, that's what they call it.
Yeah, it was just weird that that Biden was leading so much in Colorado, but Hickenlooper, well, he's still leading by, 7, 10, 5, 9. So, I mean, the incumbent obviously always helps, but...
not always.
No, it usually helps.
Maybe not during Corona. So he's leading by a likely margin. Hickenlooper was the governor of Colorado as well. That helps him. He's got name recognition. Probably more than Gardner, honestly. Now, Gardner is also unpopular. He barely won last time anyways. And which is why I have it as lean. Now, I have it as lean. It's going to be a high lean, I think, if it's going to be lean at all. I have it as lean right now only because I think it might narrow up as we get closer, and his incumbency advantage might help him a little bit. Maybe get it to like 4.5. But as we get closer, if the margins don't change in the polling, then I might increase Hickenlooper to likely.
Yeah. Okay. I am pretty much in the boat that Hickenlooper is gonna take it on exactly what Omega said. If it's lean, it will be close to being likely. I don't know how people feel about Gardner. I've not heard anything about that. If he's disliked,
He is disliked.
Then that is just more and more piling on to make me believe, just based on what I've read and stuff, that he will probably not win. I mean, the chance of that seems extremely low. So.
I don't want to say extremely low, but low, yeah. So I think what it sounds like, we're all agreeing that it's lean, but maybe it could be upgraded likely as we get closer.
Okay.
Next one, I'm not really sure. Is what's his name, like John Jacobs or something like that, or
John
John
James.
Jones? Yeah, it's
John
like
James.
I like him. Bro. He
Michigan.
flew a helicopter. Is he running this year again?
Yeah, he is.
I know. I don't think he'll win, but I hope he does. But he will.
Against Peters, or is it Peterson? I think it's Peters.
Oh yeah, Gary Peters.
Yeah, that's what I thought. So you both have it. Oh no, I'm sorry. Assassin, you have it as lean.
Mm-hmm.
And I have it as lean. Necros has it as likely. Necros, why do you think it's likely that John James loses?
I mean, first of all, incumbent in a generally democratic state is going to help. I do like John James. I've not seen much about him, but some of the stuff I've seen is kind of cool. He seems like a generally cool guy. Also, his military service was always going to help. It makes you look. I don't know. People like people in the military for politics, but except for Amy McGrath, apparently she sucks. But overall, I still think it's a democratic state. I think we all agreed for the presidency it will probably go Democrat. I just think that I can see, and I know everyone's put lean anyway, but I just think with all of those factors combined, it will probably be a high lean. Likely. I would say likely, but I said everybody put lean as in you two. I was just saying you didn't put it as Republican, but when I put likely, I didn't put it as like a non. I put it as more of like a 5 or a 6.
Right, so close to.
It's going to be close, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think it will be close as well. But I'll just talk now. So last time, John James did better than expected against Stabenow. He lost by what was it? 6 or 7? I think it was 7. I think he was supposed to lose by more than that, maybe 10. I don't quite remember. I think it narrowed up closer to the end, but for most of the cycle, he was losing by a lot. Now, I think Debbie Stabenow has more name recognition than Gary Peters, so that might, and also it's not a wave year, so that might help John James. And seeing that it was a low likely win for Stabenow in 2018, I think he could improve and maybe get it to lean margin, but I don't think he's going to win right now.
Yeah, I just read something that says, wow, okay, I am blanking. Peters, sorry. Peters apparently has pretty low approval ratings. I didn't know how low they were, but they seem like they're not good at all. So that does help James. Maybe I should have put it towards a lean. I didn't read that originally. But either way, I still don't think that'll change it enough to be. It'll still be a high lean, low, likely.
Polling aggregate is Peters plus 4.5, which is lean margin.
Okay. So I put it as lean as well. I think it'll be close-ish. So lean. Comparing the polls of 2016, or was 2016 or 2018 where he ran against Stabenow? 18, yeah. There was a huge margin, like 18, and then it shortened up, and then it was still, like Omega said, a pretty wide margin of 8.3 at the end. And looking at the trend, it looks like a similar thing happened where Peters was up by 9, 10, and then that increased dramatically over the summer, probably because of Black Lives Matter, COVID, and just a lot of people going away from the Republican Party in Democratic areas. And then just out of nowhere, James spikes, and there's polls recently putting him as far back as only 2 points. So I think for me that puts it in the lean category. I think there's a very, very tiny chance of an upset, but I don't think that's going to happen. But so yeah, I'll agree with Omega's position.
Lean close to likely is what we're saying.
Yeah.
Next.
Okay. What do we do next?
Up to you, man.
Have we touched on North Carolina yet? We could do that.
No,
That's a good one. That's a pretty tie race, I think.
definitely.
Assassin and I both have it going Republican, Omega, and you have it as a lean
I have
Democrat. So if you
lean
want to
Democrat.
touch on that
Yeah.
first, I guess.
I would love to. So Tom Tillis is an unpopular incumbent. North Carolina doesn't like incumbents. Traditionally, they often vote them out. Polling has Cal Cunningham up by 5.2, which is a likely margin, actually. I don't think it's going to stay that way. I think it's going to be really close. I think it's going to narrow up as we get closer to the election. I think. Maybe not. We'll see. But if it narrows up, that means it's going to be a lean Democrat, which is what I have it as. I think Tom Tillis is going to be defeated by Cal Cunningham by less than 5.
Yeah, I think this is the one state that we disagree on, like in terms of like Republican or Democrat. I have it as a lean. I have a general feel that North Carolina is going to go for the Republican and turn out more for the Republican Party. I am hoping that'll boost even the unpopular incumbents' chances. I'm not sure how likely that is, but that's why I have it as Republican.
Yes, Tillis is very unpopular. Not extremely, but he's definitely not liked. Especially, I don't know how Hugs probably says she likes him. I don't know what she thinks about him, but I have a couple friends.
Nothing about politics.
I have a couple friends from North Carolina, from when I lived in South Carolina, who generally are not Tillis fans, even those that are Republicans. Most of them are not interested in politics, so I'm sure they're echoing their parents, but a few of them are and do not like him. But overall, I think the margin will be very close. If it is, I would probably have put this as tilt if I could. I know we didn't end up doing that. I know you said we could, but I didn't. It looks ugly, so I didn't do it. But I would probably have it as a tilt R. I think it will be very close, but I think what Assassin says is correct. The general feel for me in North Carolina, and it's kind of the same reason I have it going Republican in the actual presidential election, is just because people there generally, from what I've seen, like Trump and are generally a higher majority Republican for the smaller town folk, or the people that I know, the majority it seems. So obviously that doesn't immediately get rid of Cunningham's chance, because I only know a couple people there, and the cities are going to change that a lot as well. But I think the general feel right now is Republican. Although I would not at all be surprised if it ended up being Cunningham.
The polling says to me that Cunningham will win, and 2018 tells me Cunningham will win. So for that reason, I have him winning.
Okay. Trying to think of places that we really have that different now.
There's tons left.
But not many that we all have put differently. A lot of it is the same.
Well, no, but we can still talk about it. We have Alabama as different.
Yeah, we do have Alabama differently. We can touch on that. What do you have? You have it as likely. I have it.
Assassin, tell us why you think Alabama's only lean Republican.
I didn't pay attention to Alabama. Maybe I did. I don't know. Recent polls. This is the craziest polls I've ever seen. This is the one where, what was his name? Roy Moore ran in 2018. I forgot what the guy's name was. I know his last name. Well, it says it was Jones. Anyway, is this the one where the Alabama football coach was running in?
Yeah, Tuberville.
He won. I forgot that.
He did.
It's hilarious. Anyway, recent polls have him up by 18, 17, 10. I don't know what the aggregate is. There are some in the past that happened.
Tuberville up, I think?
Yep.
Okay.
In June and July it was a lot lower, but yeah.
I guess we can go up by order this time, so I guess Omega, you can go next because you're a little likely.
I have it as likely because Doug Jones is the incumbent. That's the only reason. He's gonna lose.
Yeah.
The Democrats have to. It's a trade this time. Democrats are gonna lose Alabama. Probably they're gonna lose Colorado. They're trading them. So I think Tuberville. It's a high likelihood, almost safe for me. I think. Doug Jones, he thinks he voted for impeachment. Like that's how confident he is that he's gonna lose. Like if he thought he had a chance, he wouldn't have done that, right? Come on.
Yeah, that's a good point.
So I think even he knows he's out. So.
Yeah. Mine came a lot from what Assassin was talking about earlier. I looked at him a while ago. Their polling for Tuberville is extremely high from compared to what I would expect. I don't know. It seems he's doing really well on most of them that I've seen are over 10. Some of them are a little bit less, but most of them are. They have one from recently that has Tuberville at 52% and Jones at 34%. Like it's a really big difference. So that's the reason I'm going safe. But I can see I didn't really consider that when I was deciding it. I guess I can see a high likelihood just based on the fact that he's the incumbent. But I still think it'll be either way. It's going to be.
I have it as likely only because I'm not confident enough to say it's safe. As we get closer, like Colorado, if we get closer and Tuberville's still up by like 15, then I would move to safe. But
yeah, that makes sense.
Since we're more than a month out, I haven't. I'm not comfortable enough to say it's safe, so that's why I have it as likely.
All right, so that's Alabama done. What else do we have? Obviously, there's a bunch more states we haven't talked about. I just don't know what will be interesting because I think we agree on
New Hampshire.
Do we have New Hampshire? I have it as strong. Assassin has it as or solid. Safe. You have it as.
Assassin, you want to tell us why you have New Hampshire as likely?
I think it may have been automatically like that. I don't know. I didn't pay attention to it.
Oh.
I used 270 instead of your website for it, and so the ones I didn't really care about, I just didn't really change.
Icarus, do you want to explain why you have it as safe? Trump almost won it. He lost about 1%. How could it be safe?
That is true. Trump did almost win New Hampshire, but general polling for the Senate election shows that Shaheen is.
I don't have the polling in front of me, but I know that Jeanne Shaheen is a popular incumbent.
Yeah, she's very popular.
What?
She is very popular.
Yeah, and her opponent is a nobody.
What's his name?
Like, what?
What's the dude's name? I know it's the guy, but
I don't even know his name.
Let me look it up.
I have no idea.
Oh yeah, he has to do with the weird name. It's Corky Messner.
Oh yeah. That's how far down he is. He's losing that badly. Could it narrow up? It could.
It could narrow, but I still think
the lowest
she's
poll
very popular.
Has her up by 13 on RCP.
13.
That's safe for our margins. So, I think 13 might be around where I would say it could be. Maybe even more. Maybe, but let's say between 13 to 16, which is safe on our map.
Yeah,
that's why I have it as safe.
Yeah.
It could change, but I don't think it will. I think she's a former governor as well.
Yeah, what did she do recently? I remember hearing about her. There was something. Obviously, she's a senator, so I know her name, but I feel like she did something newsworthy recently.
Standing up for Granite State Voices. Champion of women.
Yeah, I clicked on the news. I don't see anything. I don't remember what it. Did she speak at the Democratic convention or something?
Maybe it was like a senator from like a neighboring state or something.
Maybe, I'm not sure. I feel like I don't see it off the top. Just googling it, so I'm not sure.
I forgot to mention this, but she's also an incumbent. So.
I think you said that. I think you said popular incumbent.
I did, didn't I?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know how I forgot that. I did say that. You're right.
This Corky Messner guy seems like he's a pretty accomplished person overall, but has no, like, there's not really much going on that would make me think he has any support whatsoever. He just seems like a successful lawyer who has not done anything in politics. So
He's a generic guy.
yes, very generic. Even his pictures are very generic. There's like a picture of his family out on a boat. They just seem like a normal American family. There's
Well, that's why they have that. They want you to
the
relate
show
to
there. The American Dream, I guess. But yes, I do not think he will win. Okay, so Carolina, I already did that. I guess we can say South Carolina. Harrison's going to lose. I'm fairly confident. No one likes Harrison that I've talked to.
Assassin has it as a lean. Why tell us why you have it as a lean?
By which one?
South Carolina.
Uh,
I hope that's not what 270 to win had, because it is not a lean for Jamie Harrison. I'm not blaming that.
let me reset the map and see if it was.
The last two polls on RCP have it as a tie between Jamie Harrison and Lindsey Graham.
What?
No way.
That's BS. I don't believe that.
He's been growing in support in the last couple of weeks.
Dude, his ads are so annoying.
Yeah, it is a lean Republican.
I guess the poll, dude. His ads. He had one where he was like, "My grandfather was a really great American citizen, and he believed in democracy, and that's not what Trump is doing." So like, it was really bad. Like, it was awful. It was super bad. He like invoked his like immigrant grandparents or something and was like saying that I don't know. It was bad. Apparently Lindsey Graham says he's getting killed financially in the Senate race against Jamie Harrison.
Oh, yeah.
And also says people hate my guts. Wow. I guess maybe there's a chance. From I've not heard anyone that I know voice support for Jamie Harrison. I mean, I guess the Never Trumpers will, obviously, and I knew that was going to happen.
Imagine.
Maybe. I would be very bummed if there was if Lindsey Graham lost his seat.
The margins have it as a lean currently, I would say, but because it's historically Republican seat, I have it as likely. That's my only reason, really, for South Carolina. It's looking good for Jamie Harrison, I think. If he wins, it will probably his climb to winning will start at around in September, I think. You know what I mean?
Mm.
Because in February it was Graham plus 17.
Ooh.
So he's been going down and down.
I have said this before.
Probably heard.
As much as I don't like McConnell, I don't like Lindsey Graham either. He is, especially now recently, he made himself look like a hypocrite. That was just so dumb of him. When he said, "Quote me on this," and they quoted, I know we talked about that. It was very stupid.
Yeah,
it was like
it was really dumb.
But there's a lot of accusations against Lindsey Graham. They say they're credible. That people say that he solicits male prostitutes in DC. I mean, stuff like that is obviously. Graham acts kind of gay, and so I think people try and act like he's some giant gay hypocrite Republican. Maybe he is. I have no clue. I just don't like him. I don't know if I believe that he's some crazy gay dude who like hides it and then votes against it. I don't really know, but I still did not think there was much of a chance that he lost. But it seemed that it's a lot closer than I expected.
Yeah, I wouldn't say it's safe anymore. I think more likely because of what I said before.
But yes, I can see it being likely. Okay.
You both have Iowa as likely. Why?
This is off topic, but I just got DM'd by some dude with an anonymous mask as his profile picture. It just says, "Are you a moderator for the British Isles?"
Bro, he's about to dox you, bro.
I don't know. Oh fuck.
He friended me and I declined it.
What's his name? really quick? Sorry.
His name was just V, but his Roblox name is Altai, and I think he's in the Assassin's Creed group. I don't know how he got my
Yeah,
Discord.
if it's Altair or whatever, that sounds like Altair from.
He joined
Assassin's
Mexico.
Okay. Iowa.
Time now.
What did you say?
We're giving you some editing time now.
Yeah, great. So what do you have it as? You
Lean.
have it as lean assassin, and I have it as likely.
It's like,
Assassin, you can go first, or I can. I don't really care.
you can go. I gotta deal with. Apparently, there's something going on at HQ. I'm gonna check it out.
Okay. Ernst is. Wait.
She's the incumbent, yes.
Yes. Okay. I was about to say. Sorry. And I think that the incumbent will obviously help her. I think the polling generally shows that she will. She's doing fairly well. I know most places have it as a toss-up from what I've seen in the polling, but she's not doing immensely well. No, okay, maybe I was wrong on putting this. I'm looking at this now, and it does not seem as close or as distant as I thought it was. This may need.
The polling aggregate on RCP is Teresa Greenfield plus 2.6.
Really, I do not see that. Oh, I see. Yeah, RCP has it like that. All of the predictions say toss-up. There's not a single one that's weighed in. That's from September 18th from August 17th.
I don't know. I think that's why I have it as lean and not likely, right?
Yeah,
I think
looking at it
Joni
now,
Ernst is going to win. Just like I think Trump's going to win on Iowa, but it's going to be under 5.
Yeah, I think looking back on this now, I would change this from likely to lean and probably a low lean, to be honest.
Mm-hmm. That's fine.
Okay. Assassin, are you going to weigh in, or are you trying to deal with whatever's happening at HQ?
I have no idea what they were talking about. They said there was like a war crimes going on.
Oh, man.
Anyway, I'll look at the Senate now. For Iowa, I don't know if I changed this one or not. Let me check. Where did I put it? There we go. Oh no, I did change it. I didn't really look into it much, but I put it going to the Republicans because I think Iowa's going to go for Republicans overall in a pretty major way. So yeah.
Yeah, I would say I would have changed mine. We talked about this a second ago. I would change mine to lean, but I still think it will go Republican overall.
Okay, I want to know. I'm interested. Of course, you have Arkansas as likely. Why?
Wait, do you not have it as? You have it.
I have it as safe.
I don't think I do have it as safe. Oh, I do. That may have been a mistake. I should have it as safe. I don't. I may have just tried to. When I remade this a minute ago because I had Maine, so I think maybe while I was clicking through, I was just trying to get all the red in the middle. I may have clicked that twice on accident. But
Arkansas is in an interesting situation because it's a Republican versus a Libertarian. There's no Democrat running.
I still think it will be Republican.
Very interesting. But I think it is safe Republican regardless. It's an incumbent Republican running in a
isn't we talked about this, didn't we? Because it's the Democrat. They had one that they were running, and then he dropped out after the filing deadline. So he just
yes.
They just only had that essentially I think will be a pretty much guarantee for Republicans. That's what I meant to click anyway. I think I had that on my other one, and then while I was going through to make this like a second before we started recording, because I had Maine as Republican for some reason.
For some reason. We'll talk about Maine then. We all have it as lean, but you said you had it as a Republican before. Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I had to remake the Senate map because I didn't want it as
So,
Republican.
but you don't. But it's close enough to where I could understand why.
But that's not what I wanted to put.
Right. Okay. So we'll talk about Maine. Why do you have Maine as?
It's kind of what you just said. It's very close. As we talked about earlier, Maine is not immediately Republican as on like a crazy switch, but it has been trending rightward, as you said earlier. I know that didn't we talk about? I thought we talked about this. I thought we mentioned Susan Collins. Maybe we didn't.
No.
Susan Collins is not very well liked, even by Republicans. To be honest, she's kind of wishy-washy.
She used to be, I think, the most approved senator in the country.
Wow, I did not know that. Huh.
Mm-hmm. Flipped, and now she might be the lowest.
Yeah, I would say the lowest.
She's one of the lowest.
It would be either her or what's that other dude?
Cory
But yeah, she's not well liked at all. Especially right now, Democrats are wanting her to, they were kind of banking on her voting no for Trump's nominee, and then now that Romney said he will, it doesn't really matter anyway. But
yeah,
so
now
she
that
probably
Romney
will vote.
She might say no just to.
Yeah, exactly. Just to maybe get her polling up a little bit. But I think Democrats, I've seen people saying, even if Susan Collins votes no, let's not hail her as someone who's fighting against Trump. She's just doing it for her polling, and I agree.
Mm-hmm.
But overall, like I said, not liked by Democrats, not liked by Republicans, especially even more so if she says no for the nominee, if she says no for Barrett. So I think it's just the extreme dislike for her is probably going to essentially change it to a lean D for Gideon, but obviously that is still possible for her to win again. I don't know, people. She's been there for a while, I guess. So I don't.
Apparently, just in 2017, her approval rating was 67%, and it's dropped to like high 30s, which is insane that it happened so quickly.
Yeah, that's crazy.
For some reason, people in Maine didn't like Kavanaugh, and she voted in favor of him, and her polling died after that.
That's insane to me. I mean, it was just an immediate, like, people talked about her in the Kavanaugh debacle. I remember people saying it, and it's just now everyone hates her.
Yeah, so
people don't like her. That's right.
Like with what Neko said, Republicans aren't the biggest fan of her. She voted against Kavanaugh. Democrats would rather have control of that seat. So
she voted for Kavanaugh.
Oh yeah, that's what I mean. That's why Democrats don't like her.
And independents. So the polling averages Gideon plus 6.5, which is a likely margin.
Wow, that is.
But it's close to win.
Higher than I thought.
So, yeah. So I think it's going to narrow up, and which is why I have it as only not likely. I would almost. I think it's close to likely though. It looks like she's going to lose to me.
Yeah. I would, looking at the most recent poll, I would honestly consider saying it's near very close to likely.
But I think it's going to get closer as we get closer to November.
Yeah, definitely agree. Okay. So, what else do we have that's even different at all?
Minnesota, Kansas, and Montana.
Kansas. What do we want to talk about first?
We'll do that order.
Do what?
We can do that in that order. Minnesota, then Kansas, then Montana.
Okay. So for Minnesota, you have.
Oops, I also forgot about Mississippi.
Okay. So you have lean for Minnesota. Sassen has lean for Minnesota. I have safe for Minnesota.
On my pictures, we all have it as likely. I believe you're looking at the presidential maps.
What? That looks like a...
We all have it as likely, man. I don't know what you're looking at. Minnesota is above Iowa. You know where it is, right? Gross. Yo, this dude just had a stroke.
Dude, I had to look between the maps like 50 times. I don't even know what I was doing. I don't know what I was talking. Okay. Yeah. I don't even know what was wrong there. I was not even looking at another specific state. I was just like reading the wrong color. I straight up just had a stroke. I don't know what happened. Yes. So you have it as likely. Assassin has it as likely, and I have it as likely. So I don't know. If there's anything specific we want to talk about?
Well, I can quickly go over it.
Yeah, that'd be good.
Tina Smith was elected in 2018 by a margin of 10%. It's pretty good, right? 10%. That's pretty good for a swing state. Aggregate has her up by 8.7. So it looks like it's a little worse for her. A little. That's still a likely margin. It could go down. If it's close in Minnesota, which it will be. It might be high lean, but otherwise, I have it anywhere between 5 to 10, which is likely. That's it.
Yeah, I don't really have much else to say to that. I pretty much am for the same reasons. I don't really know much about their politics anyway, so. Kansas, what do we have? I think we all...
I have it as likely.
Likely.
Assassin has
likely. Because lean.
Assassin, why is Kansas lean?
I think that was automatic.
Why is Kansas safe?
That was not automatic, but it was probably me just going through and giving red to the states.
It's funny. You wouldn't expect it from Kansas, would you?
Expect what from Kansas?
Anything less than safe.
I don't know, man. Kansas, I think like every state is getting less and less. Well, not every state, obviously, like Maine. But
pretty much every state.
Most states, at least, are getting less and less Republican. So
yeah, because it looks like Trump's going to lose. That's why I have him losing. Now, in 2018, Chris Kobach, I think he might have been the Secretary of State or something like that. He was a state office holder, I think. Ran for governor. Do you know who Chris Kobach is, Nicholas?
I will not lie. I'm not familiar with him.
Well, he lost. He lost as a Republican in Kansas.
Disgusting.
How? Now tell me how.
Embarrassing.
Because he's unpopular.
Yo, he went to Harvard and Yale.
For some reason, people don't like Chris Kobach. I don't really know much about him. I don't know. I don't live in Kansas, so I'd never look into him. But I haven't really heard that much bad about him, to be honest.
Okay, well, this is a little strange. Apparently, he made a call for a national registry of Muslims in the U.S.
What the fuck?
Maybe that's a little.
That's a little much. That's a little.
Well,
I told you I didn't look. I don't really know much about him.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's still surprising that he lost. To what did he lose to Kelly?
Surprising. What?
Who did he lose to? Was it?
Oh, I don't know. I'll check. He lost to. Kelly.
Kelly, yeah. This dude is mega smart. He got his bachelor's from Harvard. He got a master's from Brasenose College in Oxford, and then he got his Juris Doctorate from Yale. So, like, those are all really prestigious schools.
wow.
Well, he has political aspirations because he ran for Senate again. Yay. The one guy who lost in Kansas. Well, good news for Republicans, maybe. He didn't win the Republican primary.
There were 50,000 votes got defeated by the primary. RIP.
So he lost to Roger Marshall, Mr. Generic Republican. And they hope that by running Generic Republican, they will win in a safety seat, right? Now, the only poll they have is only +2 for the Republicans, which is weird. I don't think it's going to be +2. I don't think Barbara Bollier has any... I think it's Bollier. Maybe Bollier.
I have no idea.
Doesn't have too much of a chance of winning. It's not impossible. But I don't think it's safe either, which is why I have it as likely.
I am looking at 538, which I've been using for most of the polls. They have the most recent one, which was September 24th, Marshall and Boiler even.
Mm-hmm.
In August, Marshall +2. Then, out of nowhere, before that, August 7th, Marshall +10.
Very strange.
And for some,
polling is having issues in Kansas.
yeah.
I know this is sort of off topic about this guy. I just want to point out, he does seem kind of scummy. Apparently in 2016, the ACLU, which obviously myth, but they filed a suit against him because he violated the National Voter Registration Act of '93, and he got in April 2018. He was found in contempt of court for failing to follow an order by a federal judge to notify approximately 18,000 voters whose voting registration was being held up by Kobach that they were fully registered and could vote. So like people just didn't know they could vote because he like didn't tell them. I mean that's very scummy practice to not.
It's gonna seem like the best.
Yeah, I'm kind of glad that this is not the guy who was chosen to.
Oh, that's Kobach.
Yeah, that's Kobach.
Oh.
He kind of seems like I can see why people don't like him. It's still extremely embarrassing that he lost to a Democrat in Kansas.
Well, it was polling closely. I wouldn't say it was extremely embarrassing. It's just, it just reflects poorly on the situation of the Republican Party in general. Because it seems to me like they're losing support everywhere.
Yeah.
I think that's just as younger voters come in, they are getting more. I mean, I don't even know what Republicans can do to.
Younger voters are coming in all the time.
That's what I was saying. Like as younger voters come in.
Well, they came in 2000 in Bush won.
I'm not just talking about younger voters. That would, through history, that would have been like a cycle of everyone getting older and voting Republican. I just mean like recent young people, like the young people that are able to vote in 2020. Because I don't know if it's the internet age being whatever, but people are being like young kids are being radical anti-Trumps on like social media, and are coming in to vote later on.
A very high percentage of millennials in our generation have a favorable opinion of socialism.
Yeah, it's I don't know if it's the internet. I don't know. Maybe it's because we haven't really had to live through hard times in the lifetimes of people that are now being able to vote, and so they think that the idea of just getting things sounds good. But it seems like more people are coming in that, as Assassin said, are just.
I don't know. I don't know if that would be enough to affect Kansas. I don't know if it's that.
I don't think now. I still think it'll be. I just mean in the future. I think it's going to get less and less Republican.
I think it depends a lot on how you're raised, and I think the problem is that a lot of the people in like states like Illinois and all the western states, and like the more neutral states, are being raised very democratically or very liberally, and are living these easy lives. Whereas places like Kansas, I feel like the young are still growing up with this like country pride, this like country attitude. So I still think that they're growing up very Republican, but I do think that they'll be very more liberal than their parents. So that could have a factor. I'm not sure about in Kansas though.
I don't know. I know that this quote is a very old man Republican thing to post on Facebook, but the whole hard times create weak men create hard times. Or like, what is hard times create strong men, strong men create good times create weak men, and weak men create hard times, and it just repeats. Like I can see that being the case now. Like we're in the good times period, and good times create weak men. And I mean I know that's very generalized, and obviously I'm not saying that we shouldn't prosper as a nation, because I mean obviously I want America to do the best that it can, and that usually means providing not providing people with stuff, but a more successful nation in general. But I think that it still sort of rings true for the fact that as we are in a cushier nation, where the threats that we have, the hard work that we used to have to do is not really as much of a problem. Even now in states like Kansas, where people are still working, it's a lot easier through the technology that we have.
Imagine still working. Jeez.
I don't mean. I mean manual labor. That's a lot of jobs in bigger places are office jobs, and I think
you guys heard it here first. Necros supports. Well, it's predicting Civil War II.
Honestly, man,
over this Ginsburg stuff,
I don't know. Yeah, it's not. I'm not saying it's gonna happen. I wouldn't be surprised if it did in my lifetime.
Okay.
I'd rather it not, obviously. I don't know. I've seen a bunch of people posting on Facebook like, let's just go shoot all the protesters. Like, well, I don't know about that, Chief, but
gotta start the boogaloo.
Oh gosh, dude, all those guys that dress up in like their like full-on military tactical gear, and like,
oh my gosh.
I'm like, dude, you just look like a chump. I'm sorry to tell you, but
Like they want the Civil War to happen just so they could like legally shoot someone.
Yeah, for real. That's pretty much what it is. There was some Facebook posts. I know we're off topic now, but there was some Facebook posts where guys were like posting pictures of the things and being like, "We should just start shooting them." And he posted a picture like going to the debate with my gun or whatever. And some guy said, "I hope you cap some of them." And he was like, "I would, man, but I don't want to get arrested. So hopefully it'll get legalized soon." Like, what, murder? You think what's gonna get legalized? Genius? The state? Or are we gonna do the purge? Like what? I don't know what he was thinking, but.
I want Trump to win so I can legally murder someone.
Dude, that's what they thought was going to happen. They thought Trump was going to make concentration camps. He's just going to straight up give his followers, only his followers have the right to, you have to legally be a registered Republican to have the right to kill people. Democrats aren't allowed to own guns.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm gonna have to edit all of that out for the sake of continuity for the podcast.
That was oddly specific.
What?
Your whole story there. The whole registration thing, that sounded like a plan, honestly, man.
Maybe, bro. Trump and I have been talking, but I don't want to disclose anything more than that.
Shit. Okay, I think we should move on to Mississippi.
Yes, I agree. What do we all have? Let me get back to the thing. So Mississippi.
I have it as safe. Assassin has it as likely.
I have it as safe.
You have it as safe. Assassin, why is Mississippi likely?
Look, the Democrats know what they're doing and they're going to vote the racists out.
Oh yeah, who's the racist?
I didn't change it. It was okay.
Of course, why is Mississippi safe?
Hyde Smith is the incumbent. She's not. I don't think she's loved, but she's not. I don't think there's been any problems with her. I think she's done fairly well, I guess. In a pretty Republican state, I just don't see any reason to believe there's anything other than she's not been polling as extremely high.
Well, she was elected in 2018.
I mean, yeah, but I'm just saying I don't think there's been any problems with the way what she's done so far. Like, no one's had any issues. I think this is from Tyson Group. They have her at 41 to 40 for him, but most of the other ones I'm seeing are 47, 42, 49, 41. This one is 58, 31, so that's massive. So I don't know. I'm that one's 41 to 40, but I think generally it will probably be a fairly safe race for her. I don't see any reason to believe that it's going to go Democrat. If anything, maybe you could say likely, a high likely, but I would say safe.
Yeah. So she was elected in 2018. Guess who her opponent was in 2018?
Was it SB?
It was SB.
Oh.
And she won.
I didn't know that.
So she won against SB in a blue wave year. I don't see... Nothing has happened to where I would expect her to lose in a presidential election year. Mississippi will go for Trump, probably most likely safe, I think. And I think that's going to help her a lot because people voting for Trump are probably just going to give me, she's Republican, whatever, check her. So I think she wins safe. That's why I have her as winning safe.
Yeah. I didn't know that SB had run against her last time. That makes
maybe high likely though. There's a lot of losers running this time, isn't there?
Yeah.
Arthur Sally, John James, Mike SB. What's going on, man? Kind of weird, right?
Yeah, we're redemption, man.
Apparently Jamie Harrison is like a pretty high-ranking Democrat. I didn't know that. He's like I know this is back to South Carolina, but apparently he's like vice chairman of the DNC. He was chairman of the DNC in South Carolina for a while.
All right, Montana, last one.
Montana. Okay,
This
we
one's
have.
Chris, explain to me why Montana is safe.
Well, Omega. You know how I said that I didn't really look that much into it?
You know how I said I was going to knock your front teeth out if you say that again?
I mean, look, I don't know. It seems, from what I've seen, there's it seems like it's probably not a safe state, as more of a likely state.
Okay, we'll start at the fundamentals. Who's running in Montana?
Daines and Bullock.
Who are these people?
Well, Daines is a Republican, and
No, what's
Bullock
his
is a
job?
Democrat. This is his job?
What's his job?
Obviously a
Make a
Republican
wild-
candidate for
make a-
Senate.
Make a wild guess. What is Steve James' job?
I'm assuming he's like a lawyer.
He's a senator. Crazy, right?
Oh, is Daines the incumbent?
He is the incumbent.
I don't know anything about Montana.
I think he's the incumbent. Yeah. He is the incumbent. I almost thought I was wrong there for a second. Who's Steve Bullock? You've heard of him, right?
Of
He's a
course.
big name. Yeah.
I don't know about that.
Governor of one of the smallest states in.
That's right. He's
America.
governor. So we have the senator versus the governor. Isn't that crazy?
Epic.
This one's really interesting.
Now here's the thing. Bullock is a popular governor. People like him. Which is why it's so close, because obviously Montana usually wouldn't be close. In 2014, Steve Daines won by 18%. Now this time, the aggregate has him up by 1.6. So, I
I
think...
saw a couple that had him up at 6, though.
Yeah. I'm just saying the aggregate on RCP is 1.6. Okay. I have it as lean. I would say it's probably close to likely for the Republicans. I don't think that Bullock is going to win.
Apparently, Daines was born in Los Angeles. I don't know. I don't know if I would want. I would not vote Democrat, obviously, but I don't know if I would want somebody from LA being my senator if I could have chosen someone else in the primary. But I guess they did choose him, obviously. So
That's racist.
all I'm saying is, bro, I don't trust people from California.
All right.
It's in our second in command from California.
Yeah, I don't trust him, bro. All right, Alex.
Yeesh.
He looks like he can cook a great meal, but man, it's California. It's just a negative.
Yeah, Alex is gonna sit through all 3 hours of this and get to this exact part and flip his desk.
Dude, I'm just gonna in like a couple of days when this is uploaded and everyone has like a link to it. I'm just gonna get a DM at like, because they have an awful time zone at 3 in the morning my time or 2 in the morning my time at midnight for him. It's just gonna be like, yo, take back what you said.
Yo, fuck you.
No, obviously I like Alex. If people are in EBI, if they're from California, they can be trusted because they've made the good decision to join EBI. Others are not so lucky. But
True.
overall, in terms of actually talking about this, I'm gonna have to do a lot of editing for the last part of this podcast.
It's fine.
I think I don't really care. It doesn't bother me to edit. I think it will probably be Daines. I don't know. I probably shouldn't have had it as safe. I definitely shouldn't have had it as safe. I don't think that's shown in any of the polls. But I would say probably lean would be correct. And what I've seen from the polling, it's like 2-3-3. There's 1-6, so I guess you could say likely, especially because the one that rated at 6 is pretty highly rated according to.
Well, that's why I said it was lean close to likely, so maybe like plus
Yeah.
3 or 4 is what I'd say might be.
I would say I would switch mine then to probably
To what? To likely?
to lean with a chance to go. Likely.
Wow, double switch.
Yeah, man, that was more of a I need to do this quick. I'm just gonna pick one, so I
Dude,
just
we
turned it
had
red.
like a week to do this.
Yeah, but I didn't edit this until earlier. I mean,
Alright. Anything
today, so-
else? What about... Let's see, what else is close? Nothing really. Alaska might be a little closer. Virginia's safe, Mark Warner.
My only complaint about Alaska is that it's a state.
Wow, okay.
Let's
I mean-
let's make a union of 49 states. Get rid of Alaska. They can be like a Puerto Rico or something. They can have some power, but not official statehood.
And what power does Puerto Rico have? They
Well,
got
so
no
we can
power.
call them up to war if we need to, but they don't have a vote in the Senate. No.
Sure.
Alaska, I have that as a. I mean, I guess it could be close. I still am fairly confident it will be a Republican.
I'm just saying. I have to say. I'm just looking at the last ones we have, and I'm just saying stuff that might be closer. I think Alaska might be closer. Virginia maybe could be a little closer, but I think it's safe. I think both of them are safe. That's honestly pretty much it.
Yeah,
The other
I don't-
states, the small states on the top right, the 4 are all safe. Especially Delaware with Biden running.
Yeah, it's gonna be a guarantee essentially. Yeah, I
Okay.
don't think there's much else to talk about.
There's not.
All right, so
Wait, we need our final numbers.
yes, okay. So Omega, I'll put these up on the screen. Omega is 50-50, a perfect split.
Who wins then?
What do you mean who wins?
Who wins? I have it as 50-50, so who wins the Senate?
Whoever.
I mean, that
wins
depends on the presidency, yeah.
That means the Democrats because I have Biden winning.
Oh, I guess, yeah, you have Biden winning, so I would have said.
So that means
Pence
I have the
would beat
Democrats winning the Senate as well.
So Democrats
that
win the
means
Senate, I
that's a
guess.
triple win for them. On my prediction right now, I have them winning all three. Crazy, right?
So, yeah, so
That's
I'll
my
go.
bold prediction from me, the non-Democrat.
So overall, 249. Omega has 249 to 289. Biden winning. Obviously, Harris VP, which puts it at 51 if you want to count that, but generally 50-50 for the Senate. So complete Democrat sweep in the 2020 election. Assassin has 284, I think we said, or 285.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
For the Republicans, so it turns out to be a Trump win. So you have a 51-49 split already for the Senate in Republican favor. So obviously Republicans are going to get it anyway. But if you even have a wishy-washy one, if that ends up tying, you have Pence there as well. And I also have, I have 289 for Republican for Trump, 249 for Biden, Pence in the Senate, which also puts it at a Republican 51, Democrat 49 plus Pence if there's a tie that needs to be broken. If there's, like, if Collins wins or something, and that votes, that would switch up my map anyway. But saying maybe somebody switches back and forth, it would be.
So we all three have Trump doing worse than 2016.
Yes, I am fairly confident you will.
So you guys have him losing 20 votes, and the Republicans losing 2 seats.
Yes. I don't think the Republicans... I still think he can win the election, but I don't think the Republicans will gain from...
They're gaining Alabama.
I mean, as a whole, but yeah.
You get their one gain for the term. Let's go.
It's pretty epic.
Celebrate, man. And then they'll take their 3 losses. 4 losses that way. Because it's one game. So they lose their 4 losses, at least on home.
Alright, so that's our predictions. When the election is about to happen, I guess sometime after the debates, probably quickly after the debates, but maybe before the election.
Do it. No, it doesn't do it quickly. We can do it. It doesn't have to be right before. I would say a couple days before.
Well, a couple days because I need time to edit, so I don't want to do it. So I mean, it's not going to be a major editing thing, but I do need to insert images at the right time, which will take a little while. So
after the election, are we going to do one more podcast or 2 more?
I think one.
Oh, wait. Why? Are we
after the? I think we're going to do it before the election.
Sorry. After the debates, I mean.
I think just one.
Okay.
And then what I wanted to do after that, and I guess I will say this because I guess this will go on the podcast, is that I also wanted to take the idea of Xander from EBI, or from AFE and actually maybe speak to some of the. I won't do like a leader one, obviously, because they've already done that. Even though I could probably ask some insightful questions to that didn't get asked in the first one. Not that he did a bad job; he did fine, but I want to talk to some specific officers, maybe about more specifics in their time in EBI, or maybe just touch on certain issues in EBI, whatever or whether that be like the rifles or artillery commanders or whatever. But anyway, and medics, obviously. I don't want to make Assassin think I'm cutting them out. But anyway, so we'll do the one. So I can message y'all later about doing one after the debates, and then after that we'll figure out what happens because I have no idea what the schedule is yet. But I think that's all we're doing for this one. So I'm going to go ahead and end the recording. All right, that was the podcast. I hope that anyone that sat fully through it enjoyed it. I don't imagine many people did, but if you did, feel free to flame my editing, as I understand it was not very good. I touched on this in the recording, but my goal is to expand this podcast. I'd like to do it with the 3 people you saw here after the debates and before the election, and then maybe after the election we expand it into talking to EBI officers, or even low ranks situationally, discussing stories we have when we join the group, things along those lines, and sort of just getting the word out about the group, and hopefully putting videos on the internet that will last a long time, so maybe in the future we can come back and watch them, whenever that may be. Either way, that is the end of the podcast. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you see something you disagree with, feel free to leave a comment or at me in Discord if you're able to do so. I would love to discuss it. I'm sure it would be fun to have you flame me for my terrible opinions. And so anything you want to reach out for, please feel free to do so. Other than that, that is it, and hopefully I will see you again next time I upload.